Today, what we are making, seared duck breast with a roasted grape and port wine sauce with sweet potato cake and sauteed haricot vert. We are going to get our potatoes started first. I have sweet potatoes. I'm gonna peel these guys. We are going to slice them uber thin on the mandolin. This guy. And we just wanna get a lot of slices going. Now, when it gets to the point where your hand is really close to this, it's not worth your fingers. All right, we're gonna put a little olive oil in the bottom. We wanna make sure, especially on this first layer, that we arrange them really beautifully because we're gonna flip this and our bottom is going to become our top. Once we get layers in there, press them down, and now we're gonna get a little fancy and fun, a little grated Parmesan cheese. It's salty, kind of zesty, and it adds a savory element to this dish. Here we go. Now, I'm gonna turn my burner on. All right. Duck. The first thing I do is take off the legs. I'm just exposing the joints. I'm gonna pop the thigh out of the socket. All right, hang on, let's just check our potatoes. See what we've got going on? Look at, I know it's not stuck on the bottom. Now, this is kind of fun, and this is like, take a leap of faith and just commit to it and own it. Put a lid on it, see if any excess oil comes out. Slide it right back in there. We're gonna brown it on the bottom and then it's gonna go in the oven. Now, back to my duck. Keeping my knife along the carcass, just taking it right off. So now, popping the joint, the gentlest strokes ever, and I can cut right through there. I'm not fighting with it. See this line right down the middle of the duck? Slice all the way down to the carcass. Right in the middle here, there is the breastbone. We're gonna take each breast off that way. I'm going to use my knife right around the rib cage. I'm just gonna take it right off. This wing, we can take this guy off. See all this extra sort of fat? We're gonna just trim it. There we go. Nice stuff happening. I'm gonna put this in the oven now. I would say that's gonna be in the oven for probably about 15. All right. Duck is very, very fatty. This skin has a big layer of fat before it gets to the surface of the flesh. We're gonna score the skin through the fat down to the flesh, but not into the flesh. We're gonna put this in a cold saute pan, and we're going to heat it up ever so gently so the fat starts to melt out. We're gonna pat these guys dry, give them a nice sprinkle of salt. We have our pan, a little bit of oil in the bottom, but not too much because remember, a lot of fat is gonna come out of these guys. And then we're gonna save that fat to saute our green beans in. Duck fat tastes delicious. I'm gonna turn my burner on. We lay these guys in skin side down. Season the bottom of my duck as well. So let's just take a little look-see. Fork in and out easily, so I know these are cooked all the way through. And I'm gonna let that just hang out the way it is. Hello, little pretties. Now, when we talk about cooking green vegetables, blanch and shock. Blanch and shock. Now, what's really important about the blanching and shocking, though, is the water that we blanch and shock in. It needs to be as salty as the ocean. I have a big bowl of ice water. We're gonna salt that too. All right, so here we go. We're blanching. Well, let's see what's going on here. Nice, lots of fat going on in there, right? All right, when it comes back to a boil, we go immediately into our shocking situation. What shocking does is stops the cooking process immediately. It shocks it into stopping to cook. When your beans are cold, take them out of your shocking water, and then we're done with this guy. Well, let's see what's going on here. Nice. Look at our duck skin has really shrunken down, right? Now we're gonna just sear this guy on the bottom a little bit, and then I'm gonna put them in the oven for about 5 to 7 minutes. Timer. Set it. Use it. Love it. I have a shallot. I'm going to slice my shallot to the back, but not through the back, through the middle like that. And so then we're just gonna go downtown like this. Now, I'm gonna use this for both my green beans and my sauce. So look at me doing shallots one time for two things. Mise en place at its finest. My duck's ready. Okay, we're gonna let it rest. Now, I have this beautiful pan. This brown crud is delicious, and we want to use it. I'm gonna add some shallots to this. What I wanna do is called sweating my shallots. What do you do when you sweat? You get hot, you let off water, and you start to smell. A little bit of chicken stock, and I'm getting all the nice crud off the bottom of my pan. Hello, grapeage. I want these grapes to burst and like let out their grapey goodness. Now, I'm gonna add a little bit more chicken stock. I'm gonna let this come to a boil, and then we're gonna start to do our flambe, which is very exciting. In the meantime, I'm going to get my shallots sweating for my green beans, some salt, my duck fat. And just for fun, I'm gonna give just a tiny little pinch of crushed red pepper. When we're talking about flambeing, this bottle, so flammable. So we never, ever, 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 ever add it from the bottle to the pan while it's on the flame. Pan off the heat, pour the booze in the back of the pan. There we go. And once the booze has cooked off, the fire goes out. My sauce is reducing. Let's just finish up our beans. We're just cooking these to warm them up. Look at my duck breasts. You see all this duck juice, right? All that flavor, just add it right to your sauce. This guy, just take right out. Commit to it. You don't want to interrupt the top. Tiny bit more stock. All right, let's look at our duck now. I want to slice my duck on the bias. That means on the diagonal. But I'm keeping my duck all together. I'm gonna get just a little pat of butter, and we just swirl it in. All right, heat off. Plating, take a wedge of this guy. Taking a nice, neat little pile of green beans. This is why we keep our duck all together. And then we open it up a little bit. Let's take out a few grapes. And then you want the juicy, juicy part of your sauce. And then the last thing that we're gonna do is gonna do some pretty chives on the sauce and the grapes.